The moment you realize it's people that you love that you're gonna have to leave behind. I was told out. Look, we at war. Everybody can't go though. Some of us vibing high. Everybody can't go though. Some of y'all might leave family behind. Everybody can't go though. Could've completed, but you get deleted. Some people are defeated, so you feel deleted. And knowledge is medicine, knowing you need it. If everyone go, I'ma know that you cheated. You think I'm conceited, I'm feeling completed. Life is a game and I'm planning to beat it. Life is a game and I'm planning to beat it. Look. Everybody can go though, beat it. You was ascending and starting to win. No pretending, actually win. Low vibrations, boxing you in. Who keep letting them toxins in? All my people are toxin us. Everyone on our toxin land. Ancient like cosmology. I am the source, I go within. I can't go unless I go to win. Really a God supposed to win. Anyone that's trying to get with me, just start doing the most you in. Trying to turn up, it goes to 10. Blood type O, you almost in. Minarchin, we all go in. G, Amerwa, we all go in. Bring the water, but can't make you drink. No, I'm not here to just make you think. If anything, I'm here to just make you fight. It's all lost, just make it right. Everybody ain't with it. Let me tell you, I don't like reading. Freedom ain't free, you broke, I get it. Let me tell you, you don't like breathing. Can't even wake you up, you sleeping. Niggas are sleeping, scalping season. Some of y'all sleep through all this treason. Government beefing, now you vegan. Need autonomy, really don't need them. Now we rise, this house is freedom. Really gonna hurt my heart to leave them. Really gonna hurt my heart to leave them. This is simulation or a cycle. They be hating on you for survival. That's why I don't mess with the Bible. Ain't nobody tribal going viral. We original, we hold the title. Lot of work to do, how you idle. Ain't no false idols in they bio. We ancient in Ohio. Say what you want and do what you do, but I'm starting to get, I don't know about you. Gotta go with think, can't go on YouTube. If you think you know, you ain't got no clue. Say what you want and do what you do, but I'm starting to get it, I don't know if you do. Gotta go with think, can't go on YouTube. You thinking you know, you ain't got no clue. We at war. Everybody can't go though. Some of us vibing high. Everybody can't go though. Some of y'all might leave family behind. Everybody can't go though. Could've completed, but you get deleted. Some people are defeated, so you feel deleted. And knowledge is medicine, knowing you need it. If everyone go, I'ma know that you cheated. You think I'm conceited, I'm feeling completed. Life is a game and I'm planning to beat it. Life is a game and I'm planning to beat it. Look, gotta be. Everybody can't go though, beat it.
Yeah. Wild Indian, yeah.
Hey, V, line them up.
I'm a wild Indian, you know I go crazy. Ain't really Indian, that boy you gazy. I just keep it player, you can never play me. You got an ass so fat, girl, let's make a baby. And another one. Then I'm back to the trap, I'm trying to double some. She a bad woke chick and I love her tongue. We some jurisdiction boys, we some 101s. Look, don't compare me to no Martin dog, I'm like Malcolm X. Die by our freedom, we'll leave a crack and stretch. Round of applause, boy, you know we crapping text. Chucky dog, cows play, yeah, nigga, that's what's next. Open up the cans just like Arizona. Pull up mad stuff like we got the Rona. We set up jurisdictions when we buy the corner. How you claiming that's your hood and you not the owner? Be the B, I just pulled up in the need for speed. Free the land, tell the colonizers that they need to leave. Wild Indian up in my veins, you know how we bleed. You ain't gotta lie about who we is, dog, just keep it G. We at war, we can't keep the peace. Since we at war, gotta keep the peace. Whack a cone, then I meditate. Should I need to breathe? Keep an Olmec head when we slide, dog, cause we the sheep.
Like my niggas said, bitch, we the sheets. I can't keep the peace. If it pop off, then I want a piece. I'm just on release. I'm in go mode, motherfucker thief. In these streets like EBT, when we at war, make peace with me. I don't give a damn, understand. Fuck who stole this land, white or black or tan. Understand, it's fuck who stole this land. Might have seen me get a little buddy these hands. He wasn't no abo man. A lot of these dudes is Sambo man. They full of shit like my ammo can. What they call an N-word out the wrong mouth as an ambulance. Wild Indian, get it in advance, or you can post date it. Ask around, I'm the most hated. Straight sacred, they stole acreage. Yo, ape shit, show ain't shit. It won't be televised, I don't tape shit.
Be the B, I just pulled up in the need for speed. Free the land, tell the colonizers that they need to leave. Wild Indian up in my veins, you know how we bleed. You ain't gotta lie about who we is, dog, just keep it G. We at war, we can't keep the peace. Since we at war, gotta keep the peace. Whack a cone, then I meditate. Should I need to breathe? Keep a Omeg head when we slide, dog, cause we the sheep.
Grandest to the family. How you guys are doing? I hope it's awesome of a day for you guys. You know what I'm saying? Hope you guys are doing great and everything is what it should be for the day. I was looking for an article I thought I had pulled up, but I don't believe I do. So we'll skip that for now. And we're going to get right to it. Negus, what's going on, brother? Haven't heard from you. We got to do a build, brother. We got to do a build. You know you be coming with the fire info. Let's go. Hit your girl up. I know you be working, bro, but hit me up so we can do something. You know, I like doing interesting builds, especially with people that are intelligent and have info. Darius, peace to everybody that came in. Her rising spiritual healing has come in as well. My girl Dee, virtual CEO, peace and bliss. And Priscilla, peace, sis. All right, let's go, guys. We're going to get into... Oh, you got one? Yeah, bro. Let's get it. Let me know. Legend and Naga Charlie, peace and bliss. Thanks for coming through. Appreciate your presence. Great, sis. Awesome. All right, y'all. Let's go. I'm going to get into a couple of things. I went over this book before, some of these names, but I think it's important to kind of go over it real quick and read a little bit of the information that pertains to these nations and tribes. I want people to understand. They always talk about, different tribes, this, that. There's tribes. Different tribes are other nations. So when you hear someone talking about a nation is a conglomerate of tribes. Let's just say that. So this here, I went over this briefly before, but I'm going to read a little information. The main document that I'm going to be getting into, I wanted to save for after this. So let's go through this real quick so we can get to it. This is the Aboriginal races of North America, comprising biographical sketches of eminent individuals, and an historical account of the different tribes from the first discovery of the continent to the present period, with the dissertation on their original antiquities, manners, and the customs. Going on a few things of that nature. Okay, we're not going to get into all of that. I will be doing that. I will be going over this in pay-per-view. Some important parts. There's almost 800 pages in this book. Very descriptive things in here on language, manners, customs, all kind of things. It would take a lot to get into it. Right now, we're not going to do it, but I'm going to definitely get into some important information. Trust and believe me. Y'all know I ain't going to bring y'all here for nothing. Okay, and I want to get down to the names. Just until I don't get into this other document, I don't want to dry my mouth out. So I'm going to actually have read them, and then I'll be all set, hopefully, to get into the other document, because there's a lot of reading on there too. Okay, now we're going to start here. This is an alphabetical enumeration of the Indian tribes and the nations. And this is what we're going to get into. So I'm going to have it start reading for us, and let's go.
/2. An alphabetical enumeration of the Indian tribes and nations. An attempt is made in the following table to locate the various bands of Aborigines, ancient and modern, and to convey the best information respectively. Their numbers are multifarious sources will warrant. Modern writers have been, for several years, endeavoring to divide North America into certain districts, each of which should include all the Indians speaking the same, or dialects of the same, language, but whoever has paid any attention to the subject, must undoubtedly have been convinced that it can never be done, with any degree of accuracy. This has been undertaken in reference to an approximation of the great question of the origin of this people, from a comparison of the various languages used among them. An unwritten language is easily varied, and there can be no barrier to innovation. A continual intermixing of tribes has gone on from the period of their origin to the present time, judging from what we have daily seen, and when any two tribes unite, speaking different languages or dialects of the same, a new dialect is produced by such amalgamation. Hence the accumulation of vocabularies would be like the pursuit of an infinite series in mathematics, with this difference, however, in the one we recede from the object in pursuit, while in the other we approach it. But I would not be understood to speak disparagingly of this attempt at classification, for, if it be unimportant in the main design, it will be of considerable service to the student in Indian history on other accounts. Thus, the Ochis are said to speak a primitive language, and they were districted in a small territory south of the Cherokees, but, some 200 years ago, if they then existed as a tribe, and their tradition be Tiarni, they were bounded on the north by one of the Great Lakes, and they are said to be descended from the Shawnese by some of themselves. We know an important community of them is still in existence in Florida. Have they created a new language in the course of their wanderings? Or have those from whom they separated done so? Such are the difficulties we meet with at every step of a classification, but a dissertation upon these matters cannot now be attempted. In the following analysis, the names of the tribes have been generally given in the singular number, for the sake of brevity, and the word Indians, after such names, is omitted from the same cause. Few abbreviations have been used. WR, west of the Rocky Mountains, M, miles, Y, river, 1, lake, and perhaps a few others. In some instances, reference is made to the body of the work, where a more extended account of a tribe is to be found. Such references are to the book and page, the same as in the index. /Abacus, probably Muscogees, under the French at Tombecby in 1780. Abina occurs over Maine till 1754, then went to Canada 200 in 1689, 150 in 1780. Arsaroka, Minatari, S. Branch Yellowstone, Lot 46 degrees, Lon 105 degrees, 45,000 in 1834. Acoxaw, W. Side, Colorado, about 200 meters MSW Nacogdoches in 1805. Accomac, one of the 6 tribes in Virginia when settled by the English in 1607. Adays, 4 meters M from Natchitoches on Lake Macon, 40 men in 1805. Apriondax, Algonquin, along the end shore St. Lawrence, 100 in 1786. 4 odd.
So, if you guys notice, pay attention because this is important. I talked to you guys about the latitude and longitude being important when it comes to the land, even when it comes to your ancestors' properties. When you're getting the information on like the deeds, the patents, things of this nature, it's important to make sure that you have acquired the proper latitude and longitude. That is very important, and these things are things that you have to pay attention to. So just want you guys to note that they have a degrees of where they are in certain areas. It shows you the extinction of the person to the land, so on and so forth, right? Let's go.
Four odd 110 Indian tribes and nations. A UNF Fagula, small clan in 1783, on
Alpha
Mississippi are 8 meters M above Point Coop. Aguam, Wampanoags, at Sandwich, Mass., others at Ipswich in 1620, NC. Awahaway, Minatari, SW Missouri 1820, 3 meters M above Mandans, 200 in Yak, Azovus, S of the Missouri, and N of the Padkas, 1100 in 1760. Atansa, Fall, Head Branches S Fork Saskatchewan, 2500 in 1804. Algonquin, over Canada, from low down the St. Lawrence to Lake of the Woods. Aliatin, 3 tribes in 1805 among the Rocky Mountains, on Heads Plat. Alich, near Nacogdoches in 1805, then nearly extinct, spoke Caddo. Iilakawea, Paunch, both sides Yellowstone, Heads Bighorn are 2,800 in 1805. Axawi Bama, Creeks, formerly on that are, but removed to Red River in 1764. Amists, Algonquins, once on St. Lawrence, 500 in 1760. Eonisagundakuk, Abenaki, on sources Androscoggin, in Maine, till 1750. Andists, once on S shore Lake Erie, S. W. Senecas, who destroyed them in 1672. Apaches, Lapon, between Rio del Norte and sources of
The Indestes on the south shore of Lake Erie, south of West Seneca, It says who destroyed them in 1672. Keeping in mind, these are the Seneca, New England Indians.
W. Senecas, who destroyed them in 1672. Apaches, Lapon, between Rio del Norte and sources of Nueces are 3,500 in 1817. Apalachicola, once on that R, in W. Florida, removed to Red River in 1764. Appaloosa, aboriginal in the country of their name, but 40 men in 1809. Aquanastioni, the name by which the Iroquois knew themselves. Arapajas, side main Canada River, 4,000 in 1836 on Kansas River.
Many nations,
And
many tribes.
or Morachite, Abenaki, on River St. John, New Brunswick. Inamuse, on Street. Antonio River, near its mouth, in Texas, 120 in 1818. Underbar Oceanaboyne, Sioux, between Ocean and Missouri are 1,000 on Ottawa are in 1836. Arenas, in a village with the Fackley in 1836 west of the Rocky Mountains. Athapasco, about the shores of the Great Lake of their name. Underbar Atnas, Ojibwas, next S of the Athapasco, about lot 57 degrees N in 1790. Atacapis, in a district of their name in Louisiana, but 50 men in 1505. Atapulgas, Seminoles, on Little R, a branch of Olaclacana, 1,820 and 220 souls. Aticamegues, in N of Canada, destroyed by pestilence in 1670. Of Casisco, Abenaki, between.
Did y'all notice that it said about the Atapulgas, which are the Seminoles or Little Rock, a branch of the Alaclicana, Oaklicana. I heard of that. Aloclicana. In 1820, it says 220 souls. Just wanted to see if y'all paid attention that it says 220 souls.
Atapulgas, Seminoles, on Little R, a branch of Olaclacana, 1,820 and 220 souls. Aticamegues, in N of Canada, destroyed by pestilence in 1670. Of Casisco, Abenaki, between the Saco and Androscoggin River in 1630, N.E. Avivaga, on E branch Susquehanna River, 150 in 1768, since extinct. Iolts, 40 leagues up the Des Moines, S.E. side, 800 in 1805. Aurans, 8,000 in 1828. W. the Missouri, near the Rocky Mountains. Bayaguda, W. Bank, Mississippi, opposite the Colapasa, important in 1699. Bapis, on Trinity River, law, about 60 meters m. S. of Nacogdoches, 100 in 1895. Brer Pevels, Youngtons, 2,500 in 1836, about the heads of Red River. Brioxt, at Biloxi, Gulf Mex, 1,699, a few on Red R, 1,804, where they had removed. Blackfeet, sources Missouri, 30,000 in 1834, nearly destroyed by smallpox, 1,838. Blancouche, bearded, or white, upper S branches of the Missouri in 1820. Buvex and W, and in the vicinity of the Rocky Mountains in 1820. Brotherton, near Oneida Lake, composed of various tribes, 350 in 1836. Capo, on Red River in 1717, Powerful, on Soto Bay in 1800, in 1804, 100 men. Copopec, Nacogdoches, on Angelina R, 100 meters m above the Neches, 60 in 1820. Carwas, or Carwa, on Main Canada River, and S of it, in 1830. Coxiastic E, and Columbia, on the Pacific, next and the Chilates, 200 in 1820. Calamix, coast of the Pacific, 40 meters m and Columbia River, 1,200 in 1820. Camancugs, Shoshone, warlike and numerous, in interior of Texas. Canarsie, on Long Island, NY, in 1610, from the WN to Jamaica. Kansas, 1,805, from Bay of Street.
It said from the WN. I'm gonna make sure you guys hear that. The Canarsie tribe on Long Island, New York, in 1610, from the West End to Jamaica. They were all the Canarsie tribe in 1610. All the Canarsie tribe.
Camancugs, Shoshone, warlike and numerous, in interior of Texas. Canarsie, on Long Island, NY, in 1610, from the WN to Jamaica. Kansas, 1,805, from Bay of Street. Bernard, over Grand R, toward Veracruz.
Kansas, Cances, Kansas, prior to Kansas. Cances in 1805 from the Bay of St. Bernard over the Grand Rio toward Veracruz.
Bernard over Grand R toward Veracruz. Conivas, Abenaki, numerous in
Abenaki.
1607 and after, on both sides Kennebec River. Karankawa, on peninsula of Bay of Street. Bernard, Louisiana, 1500 in 1805. Key, on the coast between the Nueces and Rio del Norte, 2600 in 1817. Carazares, Nadioktans, a name given the natives of N. Caledonia by traders. Costa Hana, between sources Paducah Fork and Yellowstone, 5000 in 1805. Caraca, between N and section, forks of Chen River, about 3000 in 1804. Catawba, till late, on their river in S. Carolina, 1500 in 1743, and 450 in 1764. Cathlaw-Cumups, on main shore Columbia River, S.W. Wapatui, 450 in 1820. Cathlaca-Ikat, at the rapids of the Columbia, 160 meters m up, 900 in 1820. Cathlacamaps, 80 meters m up Columbia River, about 700 in 1820. Cathlamat, on the Pacific, 30 meters ms mouth of Columbia River, 600 in 1820. Cathlanaminaman, on an island in mouth of Wallomet River, 400 in 1820. Cathlanaquia, Wapatu, SW side Wapatu Island, 400 in 1820. Cathlapoodle, on Columbia River, opposite the Cathlacamaps, 1100 in 1820. Cathlapua, 500 in 1820, on the Wallomet River, 60 meters m. from its mouth. Cathlosco, 900 in 1820, on Columbia River, opposite the Chippenchicksicks. Cathlapla, 900 in 1820, on Columbia River, opposite the Cathlaca-Ikats. Kuruiatu, 500 in 1820, on the Wallomet River, 60 meters m. from its mouth. Catanaha, between the Saskatchewan and Missouri rivers, in 1805. Kanaga, places where Christians lived were so called. Siraktu, on Red River, in 1805, but 100, indigenous, always lived there.
It says the Kachnawagas was places where Christians lived and were so called. Places where Christians lived or were so called. Sounds like the colonization, some of the colonized reservations. So the Christians lived there. So they would be the colonies that were set up for the Indians that they were creating. Remember, we're looking at some of these times, 1800, 1700. These were the times that they were setting up the colonies. Remember, they had 50 members, Christianized members. Once you have 50 Christianized members, the pastor could become an authorized chief of the tribe, right? So that's kind of what was going on. So this sounds like this is one of the reservations or reserved plantations that created a nation of Indians.
Claovenants, the French so-called the Shawanese, Shawans. Sir Cherokees 50 to 80 meters ms of them, called also mid. Settlement, 1780. Koowas, small tribe on Flint River, destroyed by Georgia militia in 1817. Seenwukrian, claim from Lot. 60 degrees to 65 degrees, Lon. 100 degrees to 110 degrees W, 7000 in 1812. Kawaroker in Georgia, S. Carolina, NC, till 1836, then forced beyond the Missis. Indian tribes and nations. 1 Cheskatoloa, Seminoles 580 in 1820, W. side Chattahoochee. Cuden, dog, near the sources Chen River, 800 in 1805, 200 in 1820, Chihilish, 40 meters m. N of Columbia River, 1400 in 1820. Kirkasaw, between heads of Mobile River in 1780, once 10,000, now in Arkanwarkag, Chippinachicksicks, 60 in 1820, and side Columbia River, 220 meters m. from its mouth, Chickahominy, on Mattapony River, Va, in 1661, but 8 or 4 in 1790, now extinct. Chickamaugas, on Tennessee River, 90 meters m below the Cherokees, in 1790. Quileutes, 150 in 1820, on the Pacific, and Columbia River, beyond the Quaitzos. Chilukitequau, on the Columbia, next below the Narrows, 1,400 in 1820. Quileutes, N. of Columbia River, on the Pacific, next N of the Killickstokels. Chimnapum, on Lewis River, NW side of the Columbia, 1800 in 1820. Quinut, on N side Columbia River, in 1820, about 428 lodges. Quipas, about Lake Superior, and other vast regions of the N, very numerous. Quhutimicha, on W bank Miss River in 1722, once powerful, then slaves. Cx Hoxgaw, 8. Of the Creeks, 15,000 in 1812, in 1848 in Arkansas. Chapunish, on Kooskooskee River, 4,300 in 1806, in 78 lodges. Choanock, Shawanese. In N. Carolina, on Bennett's Creek, in 1708, 3,000 in 1630. Sizuoans, E. of the Tuscaroras in N. Carolina, 60 joined the Tuscaroras in 1720. Christino, only another spelling of Nistino, which C. Claclela, 700 in 1820, on the Columbia River, below the rapids. Kurloxter, WR, on a river flowing into the Columbia at Wapatoo Island. Clamoctomich, on the Pacific, next end of the Chilts, 260 in 1820. Clanamitas, on the 8. W side of Wapatoo Island, 200 in 1820, WR Clanar Minimums, S. W side of Wapatoo Island, 280 in 1820, WR Cesiatsos, about 2 meters m. In of the mouth of Columbia River, 1,300 in 1820. Clarkames, 0 and arriver of their name flowing into the Wallomet, 1,800 in 1820. Senees, on a river flowing into Sabine Lake, 1,690, the Coasness of Hennepin, probably. Cohocus, nearly destroyed in Pontiac's time, in 1800, a few near Lake Winnebago. Coxapeaces, on E-Bank, Mississippi in 1720, opposite head of Lake Pontchartrain. Concatas came to Appalachia in 1794, from E. the Missis, in 1801, on Sabine. Congarees, a small tribe on Congaree River, 8. Carolina, in 1701, long since gone. Conois, perhaps Canhuis, being once on that river, Canay, and variations. Cuxo 0000C, 1,500 in 1806, coast of Pacific, S. of Columbia R, and S. of kilowatts. Coopspuller, on a river falling into the Columbia, N. of Clark's, 1,600 in 1806. Coosapus, Creeks, once resided near the river Taupoos. Coprier, so called from their copper ornaments, on Copperman River, in the north. Corugs, Tuscaroras, on this river, and Carolina, in 1700, and subsequently. Karankawa, on Street, Jacinta River, between Trinity and Brazos, 350 in 1820. Coutitsik, on Columbia River, 62 meters m. From its mouth, in 3 villages, 2,400 in 1820. Creeks, Muskogees, Savannah R. to St. Augustine, thence to Flint R. 1,730. Cress, lynx, or cat, another name of the Nistino, or a part of them. Crows, Absoricas, S. branches of the Yellowstone River, 45,000 in 1834. Katanim, on both sides Columbia River, above the Sokolks, 1,200 in 1820. Daxcora, or Docora, the name by which the Sioux know themselves. Delaware, Lenollenate, those once on Delaware River and Bay, 500 in 1760. Dryan Pontics, Hurons, same called by the French Chenontates. Dozes, small tribe on the Maryland side Potomac River, in 1675. Dars, Blackfeet, but speak a different language. Does the Chenes of the French. See Huron. Durham, 120 in 1805, about the heads of Chen River, in the open country. E-Muses. See Amuses. Eka Emmons, canoemen, on R. St. John's, include Passamaquoddies and St. Joins. Epistokes, in S. Carolina in 1670, a place still bears their name there. Amuses, Seminoles, W. Side Chattahoochee, 2 meters m above the Weekases, 20 in 1820. Eneshs, at the Great Narrows of the Columbia, 1,200 in 1820, in 41 lodges. Erts, along E. side of Lake Erie, Oatsbia by the Iroquois, about 1,654, Essos, on River Putty, S. Carolina, in 1701, then powerful, Catawbas, probably. Escaloots, about 1,000 in 1820, in 21 lodges, or clans, on the Columbia. Esquimavexex, all along the northern coasts of the frozen ocean, N of 60 degrees N lot. Urahasefox, Semin, on Chattahoochee, 3 meters m above Ft Gaines, 100 in 1820. Factuas 118.20 on Stewart Lake W. Rocky Mound. Lot 54 degrees, Lon 1250 W. Copyright signed fact so called from their residence at the falls of the Kuskuski Sea Alansubs, FRV nations, Mohawks, Senecas, Cayugas, Onondagas, and Oneidas, which see. Frat H. Zaps, Tutsias, on a large river WR, on S. Fort Columbia are Fouts Savoings, the French so called the Menominis. Font, Boulac, roam from Snake River to the Sandy Lakes. Fowtowns, Seminoles 12 meters ME Fort Scott, about 318.20. Fox, Otogamies, called Renards by the French, dispossessed by B. Hawks Warganawis on the heads of.
You guys see when they talk about the 5 nations, right? Just want you guys to make sure you're seeing this for yourself. The 5 nations were the Mohawks, the Senecas, the Cayugas, the Onondagas, and the Oneidas. Now, out of those 5 nations, there were tribes. Keeping in mind, as you guys see, these are different tribes of so many different nations. There are many nations. They'll say, the 5 tribes, these people, trying to minimize it. There's a few Indians here. A few of those people over there, so on and so forth. Just playing with our head, obviously, with that. But as you guys can see here for yourself, there were a multitude. There are plenty of them. That's why I want to document it so you guys can see it for yourself, each and every one. We're going to get to the read in a bit. There's one page that I'm going to also read out of this book that's very pertinent. Also, verifying information on the indigenes, the American indigenes. I keep telling you guys, the American indigenes, misclassified as Indians, are who we were at this particular time, even way back when, so on and so forth. So, indigenes, thinking about indigenes of America, right? When you think of Indian, where it comes from, they say, it's because Columbus came over the Indian Ocean, all this nonsense, but, neither here nor there. Let's continue.
Hawks Warganawis on the heads of Potomac River, same as Kanhaways, probably. Gayhead, Martha's Vineyard, 200 and 1800, in 1820, 340. Underbar Grant River, on Grand R.N. Side L, Ontario.
Did y'all hear that? Did y'all see that? The Gayhead family. Martha's Vineyard. Martha's Vineyard. Who do, they try to assume that belongs to now some Italians, some Sicilians, from their leniency. And we know that it's showing you right here that was also stolen. Martha's Vineyard. It tells you right there, the Gaynard tribes, right?
Side L, Ontario, Mohawks, Senecas, and 2000. Gross Venters, W. Mississippi, on Maria River, in 1806, in 1834, 3000. Han R.S. Roar, next S of the Arnpeen War with them. Halibis, a tribe of Creeks, destroyed in A. Hanacalal, 618.20, on Pacific, S. Columbia, next beyond the Lucarso. Flacinemezids, 4 tribe of Nipmucks, embraced Christianity in 1660. Hiniganimo.
The Nipmucks embraced Christianity in 1660. In 1660, they were a strong tribe. This was the Hassanamessids. The Hassanamessids. It was a tribe of the Nipmucks nation. The Nipmucks.
Columbia, next beyond the Lucarso. Flacinemezids, 4 tribe of Nipmucks, embraced Christianity in 1660. Hiniganimo, 1318.20, from mouth of Lastor River, up it to the forks. Hettiewitz, 100 meters M along the Columbia, from the falls upward, on the end side. Herring Pond, a remnant of Wampanoags, in Sandwich, Mass, about 40. Hyetans, Comanches, erratic bands, from Trinity to Brazos and Red River. HRN1, Cadota 218.20, on Angelina R, between Red R and Rio del Norte. Herc Nearers, once on Chattahoochee R, 600 now in Arkansas, speak Muskogee. Auropos, Tushpahas 318.20, above Great Falls on Clark's River. Humas, Mesred Nation in Ixusses Parish, Law, in 1805 below Manchuk. Hurons, Wyandits, Quitawis, adjacent, and Ngt. Lakes, sub. By Iog, 1650. Indidus, the Lake of Men, both sides Illinois are 12,000 in 1670, 60 towns in 1706 Intes, or Takuts, Texas.
Illinois, the Lake of Men, both sides of Illinois River. 12,000 in 1670, 60 towns in 1700. Y'all hear this? In Illinois, 60 towns inhabited by the Illinois Indians. Okay? I showed you guys last year the Wabansi stone. There was a great, giant, huge cemented Indian head at the port of Lake Michigan in Chicago. They removed it. Can they tell you where it's at? They don't know where it's at. They have it put away somewhere, probably in the back of some warehouse. It's so important. All of our ancient artifacts they take of our people, and it's so disgusting when I think about it. When I ask people about it, a lot of people are like, what is the Wabansi stone? Well, yeah, it was a Wabansi stone that was a huge cemented Indian head that was at the port of Illinois. But they tell you about oh gosh, I don't know how I can't remember the guy's name. They tell you about this so-called African guy that came and created all of the trading and blah, blah, blah. A damn lie. The Illinois Indians were doing it. And the Wabansi stone was the area of the port where they had the port at, where they were doing all the trading, where people would come in right there on Lake Michigan. A whole nother story erased. I've never even I had a chance to talk to you about. I know so much shit. But yeah, listen to this.
Hurons, Wyandits, Quit.
Battery low.
Damn.
Lakes, sub. By Iog, 1650. Indidus, the Lake of Men, both sides Illinois are 12,000 in 1670, 60 towns in 1706 Intes, or Takuts, Texas. Branch Sabine, 80 men in 1806, speak Caddo. Iways, on Iway River before Black Hawk's War, 1,100 beyond the Mississippi. Iowa, 1606 on St. Lawrence, below Quebec, 1687, both sides Ohio, to Miss. Isatis, sometimes a name of the Sioux before 1755. Trucumimits, 600 in 1820, on N side Columbia, near the Cathloscos. Jelen, one of the three tribes of Comanches, on sources Brazos, Del Norte, and Ecatapaus, a tribe in N. Carolina in 1707. Canonkex, 400 in 1820, W. Rocky Mountains, abode unknown. Catooses, a tribe found early in Florida, long since extinct. Underbar Canonovish, on the Padcas Fork of the Platte, 400 in 1805. Canuawis, Ganawis or Canhaways, on the river Canhawa, formerly. Consus, on the Arkansas River, about 1,000 in 1836, in 1820, 1,850. Kaskaskias, Illin. On a river of same name, flowing into the Missis, 250 in 1797. Kaskayas, between sources of the Platte and Rocky Mountains, 3,000 in 1836. Karaksa, Padkas, not located by travelers. Sipatkas. Kenitsa, Crows, both sides Yellowstone, above Mouth Bighorn are 3,500 in 1805. Kikas, E Branch Trinity River in 1806, once on the Sabine, 260 in 1820. Cruis, on Paducah River, beyond the Kites, 1,000 in 1806. Kaiji number, on the shore of Pacific Ocean in 1821, under the Chief Skidgates. KRX Kofku, formerly in Illinois, now about 300, chiefly beyond the Mississippi. Killamuk, a branch of the Clatsop, on the coast of the Pacific Ocean, about 1,000. Kilawit, in a large town on the coast of the Pacific, E of the Luchtons. Kalixtokles, 100 in 1820, at the mouth of Columbia River, on N side. Kimonibs, a band of the Chapunish, on Lewis's River, 800 in 1820, in 33 clans. Kanat, about Cook's Inlet, on the coast of the Pacific Ocean. Kyers, Steddons, between sources Platte and Rocky Mountains, about 500 in 1820. Kiskakans inhabited Michilimackinac in 1680, a Huron tribe. Nistano, on Assiniboine River, 5,000 in 1812, numerous women comely. Connaissance, Esquimaux, inhabiting Kajik Island, Lot. 58 degrees, Lon. 152 degrees WK00KK00 minus 00 SE on the coast of the Pacific, S of the kilowatts, 1518.35. Eoskurwaux, one of 6 tribes on E, shore of Chesapeake in 1607, Tuscaroras. La Nana, 2018-20, both sides Columbia, above the mouth of Clark's River, Lutton. See Apaches. Larisco, 618-20, at the falls of Lasto River, below Wadden Lake. Lear, Sioux 618-20, on the Missouri, above Prairie du Chien. L'Arcu River, about 350 in 1820, near Sandy Lake, Lot. 46 degrees 9 and Lunalene, once from Hudson to Delaware River, now scattered in the west Larpans, 818-16, from Rio Grande to the interior of Texas, light hair. Lovinovs, next N of the Esquimaux, or S of Lot. 67 degrees 15 and Luxavis, 818-20, W of the Rocky Mountains, abode unknown. Lux Scanorso, 1218-20, coast of Pacific, S. of Columbia R, beyond the Shalala. Luxrans, 20 and 1820, W of the Rocky Mountains, abode unknown. Mucuapunas, in N Carolina in 1700, practiced circumcision.
I think a lot the ones that are where they're saying the abode unknown, they may have been agents. They may have been parts of tribes that kind of drifted off. They may have also been parts of tribes that came from the reservations and the colonist nations, and they drifted off. So on and so forth. So they're saying abode unknown. They cannot verify what nation they came for, nor the area, nor the degree of longitude that they're derived from.
Of Columbia are beyond the Shalala. Luxrans, 20 and 1820, W of the Rocky Mountains, abode unknown. Mucuapunas, in N Carolina in 1700, practiced circumcision. Manpays, 1250 in 1805, 1200 meters m, fm. Mouth of Miso, 1838, reduced to 21 by some. Pox Manatoes, or Trenons, Iroquois, Noctaway River, formerly, now extinct. Manuarans, Mohicans, once on the island where New York City now stands. Manahokes, once on the upper waters of the Rappahannock are, extinct long ago. Maraquers, Abenakis, on the St. John's, a remnant remains. Marsepegubs, once on Calf Island, S. side of Oyster Bay, extinct. Marshers, Wampanoags 315 in 1832, Barnstable Co., Mass., mixed with blacks. Moscorans, or fire and Betamissus. And L. Michigan, 1664, sex and foxes. Massachusetts, the state perpetuates their name, equals Massawomes, El Roquois, once spread over Kentucky. Maruanogs, 518-20, on an island in the mouth of Wallamette River, W.R. Mays, 618-05, St. Gabriel Creek, mouth of Guadalupe River, Louisiana. Menomints, Algonquins, once on Illinois are, now 300 W. Mississippi. Messassades, 2017-64, N, of and adjacent to El Huron and Superior. Ramis, Algonquins, once on the R of their name, now 1,500, beyond the Missis, Micasakis, Seminoles, about 1,000 in 1821, very warlike. Mixmax, Algonquins 3,000 in 1760, in Nova Scotia, the Suriqua of the French. Mixuck Selton, Tushpaha 300 in 1820, Clark's River, above Great Falls, WKR. Minurares, 2,500 in 1805, 5 meters m, above the Mandans, on both sides Knife River. Minda War Carden, in 1805, on both sides Mississippi, from St. Peter's upward. Ringos, once stitch of the Iroquois were so called as resided upon the Scioto River. Mins 1, Wolf tribe of the Lenni, once over New Jersey and part of Penn. Missouris, once on that part of the river just below Grand R, in 1820. Michigamis, one of the 5 tribes of the Illinois, location uncertain. Monos, head of 5 nations.
Okay, now I swear I don't have these. Y'all see how many tribes and nations are on here, right? So y'all know I don't have this memorized. This is what I be saying about confirmation. I love it. Now y'all see what it said. It said Michigamis. The Michigamis. It says one of the 5 tribes of the Illinois. And here goes another one. Location uncertain. Sound like agents to me. Remember, we read the other week, I showed you guys the proof of the agents. You guys remember? I know a lot of times we go over things and you go back and forth with different panels and channels and people talking about different stuff. It's hard to remember a lot of stuff that be going on. But if you guys can remember, I showed you the proof of the president paying the agents, the Indian agents, their names. It showed their salary, what tribe they were infiltrating, and the whole nine. Remember that? So now, keeping in mind these tribes that have no location or abode unknown, location unknown. These are, and this one is saying it right here, the 5 tribes. They didn't know we'd know about no 5 tribes way back then when this book was written. So it's showing you here they were part of the 5 tribes, and it said they were Illinois. Oh, yeah, okay.
Michiganese, one of the 5 tribes of the Illinois, location uncertain. Monos, head of 5 nations, formerly on Mohawk are, a few now in Canada, Mohegans or Mayacanucks in 1610, his are from Esopus to Albany, Monacans, Tuscaroras, once near where Richmond, Virginia, now is. Momblatches, on the W side of the Mississippi, see Biaglas. Montans, Algonquins, and side St. Law, Saguenay and Tattaoozac in 1609. Monmouth KS on the end of Long Island, formerly head of 13 tribes of that island. Morartoques 80 in 1607, 40 in 1669 in Lancaster and Richmond counties, Virginia. Mozairos, once a numerous race on the east side of the Isthmus of Darien. Multnomouths, Wapato 818-20, mouth of Multnomah River, W.R. Mounskis, Delawares, in 1780, and branch Susquehanna R. to the Wabash in 1808. Muskogsees, 17,000 in 1775, on Alabama and Apalachicola rivers. See Beef. Nabitaches, Caddo, on branch Sabine, 15 meters m above the Anais, 400 in 1805. Narcisos, between and Mexico arid the Pacific, live in stone houses and manufacture. Nandicos, 120 in 1805, on Sabine, 60 meters MW of the Yatassees, Caddo. Nanticokes, 1711, on Nanticoke River, 1755, at Wyoming, same year went west. Nakota, the name by which the Sioux know themselves. Narragansetts, as side of the bay which perpetuates their name, nearly extinct. Nassauys, Nipmucks, on that river from its mouth, in Massachusetts. Natchez, at Natchez, discovered, 1701, chiefly destroyed by French, 1720. Nakatosh, once at that place, 100 in 1804, now upon Red River. Natroerns, 200 in 1820, W, are, on a river of their name, W of the Fackleys. Nartarks, Nipmucks, in Massachusetts, in a town now called after them. Nechacoke, Wapato 100 in 1828, side Columbia, near Quicksand R, W.R. Nikidu, 700 in 1820, on the Pacific, S of the Columbia, beyond the Yukoni. Namalquinner, Wapato 200 in 1820, and side Willamette River, 3 meters m up. Neontics, a tribe of the Narragansetts and in alliance with them, p. 131. Nicaraguas, once about Michilimackinac, joined Iroquois in 1728 as 7th nation Nairisries, original Algonquins 400 in 1764, near the source of Ottawa River. Nipmucks, eastern interior of Mass, 1500 in 1770.
It said the Nipissans original. I think that's the first time that it said original. It said original Algonquins, 400 in 1764, near the source of the Ottawa River. Right? Original. First time I seen them giving that description. So they must have verified for sure. They must have been like a larger tribe, even though it's saying a small number tribe, but they must have had a larger nation or, had a certain room or something for them to say that, I believe. Let's go.
Nipmucks, eastern interior of Mass, 1500 in 1775, extinct. CP 82, 104, 164, 275. Norajeffolks, Abenakis on Penobscot River. See Book 3. 303, 311. Noraways on Nottoway River in Virginia, but 2 of clear blood in 1817.
2 of clear blood. 2 of clear blood. I wonder what that could mean. 2 of clear blood. Anyone familiar with that particular descriptive term? If so, let me know, because I have never heard that But I know we know about being pure blooded. Maybe they're saying they had but two of clear blood. Are they saying they're mulatto? Just curious, nothing big. But if anyone is familiar, I'll try and look it up later. But drop it in the chat. Two of clear blood. Interesting.
Nyax, Mohicans, or Manhattans, once about the Narrows, in New York. Oak Mulches, Muskogees, to the E of Flint River, about 200 in 1834. Okomeches, in Virginia in 1607, had before been powerful, then reduced. Ochres. Coches. Perhaps Ochesos, 230 in Florida in 1826, at Ochi Bluff. Ocanas, Creeks. See Book 4. 369. Os 1b was Chippeways 30,000 in 1836, about the Great Lakes, and N of them. Ocadiacanans, Seminoles 580 in 1820, near Fort Gaines, East Side, Mississippi. Omanas, 2,200 in 1820, on Elkhorn River, 80 meters M from Council Bluffs. Oneidas, one of the Five Nations, chief seat near Oneida Lake, New York. Onondagas, one of the Five Nations, Keenan, New York, 300 in 1840. Ortlashoots, Tushpahas 400 in 1820, on Clark's River, W. Rocky Mountains. Oses, 4,000 in 1830, about Arkansas and Osage rivers, many tribes. Al Oragamars, Winbagos 300 in 1780, Bat Lake of the Woods and the Missis. Orox, 1,500 in 1820, in 1805, 500, 15 leagues up the River Platte on S. side. Orawis, 1,670, removed from El Superior to Michilimackinac, 2,800 in 1820. Overtannons, or was Kickapoos, mouth of Eel R, in 1,791, in a village 3 meters M. Long Ovness, Bank, Mississippi in 1722, in 2 villages, quarter of a mile from the river. Oases, Seminoles 100 in 1820, on E waters of Street, Marks River. Underbar Ozaz, 2000 in 1750, on Ozo River in 1780, which flows into Eel Ozimars, one of the 6 tribes on H shore of Maryland and Virginia in 1607. Kanas, on Quailpacos River, law 30 men in 1805, 40 meters MSW Nakatosh. Papovkas, 2,000 warriors equals 1,724, on the air lie before 1,805. Papaugas, by some the Senecas were so called, uncertain. Paelch, 200 in 1820, on coast of the Pacific, and Colombia are, beyond the Patoches. Palicos, a tribe found early in Florida, but long since extinct. Underbar Pamlico, but 15 in 1708, about Pamlico Sound, in N. Carolina, extinct. Pancas, once on Red River, of Winnipeg 1. Afterwards joined the Theopompus, Tonica's 46 villages in 1750, s. We are. Missouri, 70 villages on Red R, 1,755. Hannon. Scoilacawea, 2,300 in 1805, on Headford's Horn River. Pascataways, once a considerable tribe on the Maryland side Potomac River. Pascacuas, 25 men in 1805, on Red R, 60 meters M, below Nakatosh, from Florida. Passamaquoddy, on Schuttock R, meet in Perry Pleasant Point, a small number. Pavunes, 10,000 in 1820, on the Platte and Kansas, Republicans, Loops, and Picts. Havistasinema, 500 in 1820, small, brave tribe, in the prairies of Missouri. Horicats, Nipmucks, on Merrimack River, where Chelmsford now is extinct. Son.
Dark Gable. You said the Ottawas are way watered down or replaced by the Mongolians or the pretendians. So when we hear clear blood, maybe they're saying they have no substance. Just like prior, one of the other tribes, it said that it said a tribe of 200 souls. No other description was saying souls particularly. I mean, they could have put that on all of them or a few of them, but we've only seen that one time in the descriptive term, souls. So meaning, possibly from the dirt, so on and so forth. So when it says clear blood, possibly of no substance, clear, not having any antigens, nothing to fight off, certain things in the body, so on and so forth. Yeah, it is offensive. I was looking at that, bro. I kept trying to stop. I kept talking about some extinct lion. Half of these people, they can tell you that they family from that tribe and they from that tribe. So how can they be extinct if they can say their family is from that tribe and they're descendants from that tribe? That shit sounds absurd. That's so crazy. But yeah, they play too much. They play too much. Let's go.
Havistasinemet, 518-20, small, brave tribe in the prairies of Missouri.
Hold on, sis. All right now, confirmation of something else here. Now that sounds right too. You read that the clear part of the blood is the plasma, and you're right. It's not really clear. It's kind of like it's a yellowish color, a very like I don't want to say an off-white. It is more yellowish or off-white though. So that definitely makes more sense. Thanks for the confirmation. Says we be there. So I'm gonna take that one more. That kind of rings right because when it's talking about clear blood, if that is giving reference to the plasma, so then that is the energy, the true light, the light beings that we are. Right? We're talking about the star seeds, the literal photo. Synthesis of energy that was created into life, right? That came with planet and what the soil of your mama's womb, the ionic womb, the same shit like the dirt, like how plants and trees and all that stuff grow from the ground. That's just like your mama. The plants and the trees, which are the children that grow from the tree, the womb, right? And you are one of those seeds. Every woman within her womb, she has every child within her womb when she is born. And prior to her mother before her, she's carrying down the seeds from each and every generation, from generations way back. So your child, when they have us out here getting rid of children, oh, he's too young to have a kid. Oh, I'm not ready for it. Go to this clinic, Planned Parenthood. The brother always talks about this with the genocide, right? You don't know whose seed you're getting rid of. That child that came back in a regenerated form from a prior ancestor, because that seed is the same part of that ancestor that can actually be regenerated. You know how you can have a seed and it's dried out and it's dead and you think, oh, that seed's no good. You plant it in the dirt, you give it some water, what's going to happen? It's going to start to grow because it's going to rejuvenate itself, right? When it comes to life in real reality, all these things that we see here is kind of just a representation of you, who you are, your body, your body in reference to a lot of the things that we are inclined to with the earth, being that we have the same resonance, they say, what do they call it? It's some type of resonance. Dang, somebody know. One of y'all put in the chat for me. They say the such and such resonance, which is really the earth heartbeat. The frequency, I don't know why it's on the tip of my tongue. Oh, I can't stand that. The frequency of that energy, right? That is the thing that gives you equilibrium, right? Because you're on a perfect balance. When your frequency and your energy is right, everything's balancing out. So the earth is the same way. But I don't want to get to preaching about this, y'all. Let's go.
Havistasinemet, 518-20, small, brave tribe in the prairies of Missouri. Porkets, Nipmucks on Merrimack River, where Chelmsford now is extinct. Sons, Nipmucks 10 in 1793 in Dudley, Mass, on a reservation of 200 acres. Hello Pala, Chapunish 1618-20, on Cuscusquiar, above Forks, WRPR Knox Scorts, Abenakis 330, on an island in Penobscot R, 12 meters M above Bangor. PPN Nipmucks, along Merrimack R, where is now Concord, and C. Pratra 897 in 1820, on Current River, one of the 5 tribes of the Illinois. PR Quickets, Abenakis, on Sources Saco River, destroyed by English in 1725. PR Quos, about the mouth of Connecticut River, subdued in 1637. Philomes, Seminoles, on or near the Swain River, Florida, in 1817. Pionkashaws 3000 once on the Wabash in 1780, but 950 since driven west. Pianiatank, a tribe in Virginia when first settled, unlocated. J. Pine Show, Sioux 150 in 1820, on the St. Peters, 15 meters M from its mouth. Peshquapa, 2600 in 1815, N. Side Columbia River, at Musleshel Rapids, WW. R. Porozu, 200 in 1820, Coast Pacific, and Mouth Columbia, beyond Climactomics. Poroatomi, 1671, on Nokai, L. Michigan, 1681, Chicago. Powhatans, 32 tribes spread over Virginia when first discovered by the English. Puans, the Winnebagoes were so called by the French at one period. Quasawogs, Nipmucks, at a place of the same name, now Brookfield, Mass. Quapaw, 718-20, on Arkansas are up Little Rock.
Right, Empress and excuse me, Mr. D Flight, exactly. The Schumann resonance. So they always talking about, oh, the Schumann resonance, the Schumann resonance. Who the hell is Schumann? He invented nothing. He wasn't even here when that resonance was started. He ain't even a part of that same frequency because we ain't even on it. Y'all ain't on the same frequency as us. I'm so sorry to say. You know, that's just a fact.
Quapaw, 718-20, on Arkansas are up Little Rock, reduced by some.
That's my
Hawks in
grandmother.
1720
I did a video last year. I am Quap Pop. You guys can see it. I went over the vibration. There's literally that's crazy. Wow. She happened to say that as soon as I started playing it. The Quap Pop. Now, actually, if you guys find that video, I'll try and repost it. But it talks about the energy and the frequency. You know, this is why I try to tell you guys about certain things you're eating and levels of frequency. I mean, I fall off myself. Oh my gosh, I've been horrible the last few months. So much going on. I rarely even eat, but like I'm just like falling off, like not doing what I need to be doing. It's crazy. Because I've been just so distracted, so much going on. I'm tired, not doing what I need to be doing. I'll just say that. No excuses. But either way, I'm still going to tell you guys, because we all need to do it. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to myself, continue to do the things I need to do. I do continue to drink my teas every day, all day. But there are other things I could be doing, a little bit better. But when it comes to that, the quapa, right? I went over a lot of things when it comes to frequency and energy as well, because the frequency and the energy has a lot to do with the places you are. You guys see how it's talking about the longitude. I didn't want to get into all this, but I got to say it. The longitude and the latitude. See, these things are different areas. And when you're in these different areas, right, they're going to affect you. You know how you can be on a road trip, you go on vacation somewhere and you're traveling, then you might hear all of a sudden you'll get like popping in your ears, or you might start getting a cough in your throat, or your equilibrium gets off a little bit. That's happened to people, right? Because what happens is you're in a different latitude and a longitude, and now the frequency may not be adapting to your blood or your blood type or the frequency that that your blood resonates off, because of the area that your family, your actual bloodline comes from a certain, in all of that as well. So I don't want to get too much into that, but yeah, definitely. Let's go.
Quapaw, 718-20, on Arkansas are up Little Rock, reduced by some. Hawks in 1720 Quathlapodals on SW side Columbia, above mouth Tawanahia River. Quitawi, Wyandots, once S side L Michigan, sold their lands to Ang in 1707 under Bar Quisopis. See Kusopis. Quaitzos on the Pacific 250 in 1820, and Columbia, next N of the Quinailts. Quinailts on coast of the Pacific, N of Columbia are 250 in 1820, next the Pales. Quinchart, coast Pacific, next N. Colastocals, and Columbia are 2000 in 1820. Quinnipisac are those called Biblas by the Chevalier Tonti. Quappies. See Passamaquoddy. 3 call mass hist so. 3. 181. Wrap-ups. See Pavistacinemux. Red Ground, Seminoles 100 in 1820, on Chattahoochee are 12 meters M above Florida line. Rita knife, so called from their copper knives, roam in the region of Slave Lake. Repstick, Seminoles, the Baton Rouge of the French. Red Wing, Sioux, on Lake Pepin, under a chief of their name, 100 in 1820. Rookery, Pawnees, before 1805, 10 Largeville, on Missouri are, reduced by smallpox. River, Mohegans, S of the Iroquois, down the end side of Hudson, are Robumpeds, Hurons, east side Lake Superior, 2,500, in 1764, Rios, on the Paducah Fork of the Missouri, 900 in 1820. Sac-Dogoogs, Powhatans, perhaps the true name of the Powhatans. Sank-Ik 4NS, the Delawares knew the
Just to clarify, she said the Sac-Dogoogs, the Sac-Dogoogs. The Powhatans, perhaps the true name of the Powhatans. For anyone that's saying they're descendants from the Powhatan tribe, they say that the original true name was the Saktagooch. Saktagooch? I don't know. That's what it sounds like to me.
Reus, on the Paducah Fork of the Missouri, 918-20. Saktagoogs, Powhatans, perhaps the true name of the Powhatans. Sankik 4NS, the Delawares knew the Mohawks by that name. Santees, a small tribe in N. Carolina in 1701, on a river perpetuating their name. Soponis, Wanamis, Sapona River, Carolina, in 1700, joined Tuscaroras, 1720 Satanas, a name, it is said, given the Shawnees by the Iroquois. Sauk, or Sac, united with Fox before 1805, then on Missis, above Illinois Savutours, or Fawn Indians of the French, about the Falls of St. Mary. Savannahs, so called from the river, or the river from them, perhaps Yamassee's Scatacooks, upper part of Troy, NUMY, went from New England about 1672. Seminoles have been established in Florida 100 years. Senecas, one of the Five Nations, ranged many thousand miles in 1700. Pharaohs, in
I'm sorry, guys. I know y'all probably get on my nerves with this because I swear this conflict, until I can be very 100% clarified, my mind will not go nowhere else. Y'all see here it says, the upper part of Troy, New York, went from New England about 1672. Went from New England. Indians, New England Indians, right? They say New England. We say Old England. I say Old England. They say New England.
Seminoles have been established in Florida 100 years.
Senecas,
one of the Five Nations, ranged many thousand miles in 1700.
There they go. More of the Five Nations, the Senecas. Now, you hear this, right? Now, listen, pay attention, please, right? Where it says here, okay, that these Indians, the Scatacocks, were the upper part of Troy, New York. They went from New England. So they left England. So listen, they moved, which means these Indians left New England in 1672, which means they were in New England way before 1672. Now, when is this story about England coming and invading and taking over? What year was that? Was that prior to 1672? They say 14, what is it, 14? What's the other year? Oh, shit. 1490 something, I don't know, something of the sort. But if these Indians were already established, right, and they were of such a great nation that they actually moved to a whole New England area, which is what? Seneca County, right? Seneca Township, all of Toronto, Canada. So these were Canadian, if you would want to say, Canadian Indians, right? They would be the Canadian Indians that went from New England, which is Seneca County. I want to make sure you guys are understanding this. Then when you come down here, verification again, here it goes. The Senecas. What did I tell you? The Senecas, one of the Five Nations. Remember, they were part of the nation because they were what? The ones that started trading. That's why they dumbass got invaded and they took over their stuff. You know, our poor dumb ancestors that was doing too much. Doing something they had no business doing, and let these people come in and take over their stuff. I'ma just say it like it is. But if y'all ain't with me, I don't know who y'all ain't seeing this.
Seminoles have been established in Florida 100 years. Senecas, one of the Five Nations, ranged many thousand miles in 1700. Serones, in Virginia in 1775, but a remnant. See Sapontes. Surinana, Savannahs. In Georgia, nearly destroyed by the Westos about 1670. Suis, a small tribe in N. Carolina, mentioned by Lawson in 1710. Shalala, 1218-16, on the Pacific, S. Columbia are next the Cook-Coo-Sea. Shalatus, on Columbia River, above the Scattles, 118-20. Banwaponi, 418-20, on the heads of Cataract and Topshall rivers. Chewain, once over Ohio, 1672, subdued by Iroquois, 1883 near St. Louis in 1820. Chestugal, 918-20, on the Pacific,
CEO,
Columbia.
did you see that we went? I'm sorry, guys. CEO, did you see it when we went over the trust, the bank and trust companies, brother? I even went over a couple of weeks ago. I showed you guys like all of all of the banks, all the banks over there. They said, "Oh, Montreal and all this shit, all at Canada, all of England, Seneca County." They had a ton of banks. They even had phone systems. They talking about, oh, the phones ain't come out. They had phone systems back then. They were like 1700s. They even had the bank set up. They had the bank and trust. We went through the book of the bank and trust. I hope y'all be putting this stuff together. I don't take my time to do this for nothing. I mean, come on. I don't be begging y'all. I got my little Cash App thing going across the stream. I do accept anybody's love, gift, donation, so on and so forth. But I don't be, bugging you guys for anything, right? So in the same sense of that, when I come to y'all and bringing this information, I really hope that y'all paying attention and y'all be putting the pieces of the puzzle together. Because I'm trying to show y'all, there's only so much I can do. I can't get in your damn head. I try to put y'all in mind by little pieces of the puzzle here and there, by showing what I can, making sure y'all seeing the keys of things that I'm seeing. Like, come on, y'all seeing this too? Tell me if your girl is crazy. If y'all don't see it, maybe I can review it. I know I'm right, but not that I'm always right. But if I have clarification of something, that's the only time I'm going to bring it to you guys. And if someone can show me something different, I'm definitely open to it. Please, verify for me. Don't have me going around here thinking I know what I'm talking about just because my particular instincts are showing me things. The ancestors just keep throwing me here and showing me there and like, look here, look there. Just because all that's happening, please come, feel free to, show anything else. Let me even drop the link in case anyone, is doubting anything that I'm saying is not making sense to them. You can definitely come up here and, straighten me out, with no animosity, of course. Come with friendly gesture, and we can discuss it. But yeah, let's do that. I appreciate you guys as well, sis. Trust and believe. Trust and believe. I wouldn't even do this. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, brother. Thank you. See, I know my people with me. See, that's why I mess with y'all now. That's why I mess with y'all. I really, really, truly do. Yep. The land banks, the land trust, all of that. Yes. So this is let's keep going, guys. Let's finish this because when I show y'all this other document, y'all gonna be like, you know what?
Cheline, once over Ohio, 1672, subdued by Iroquois, 1883 near St. Louis in 1820, Chestugal, 900 in 1820, on the Pacific, as Columbia are, next beyond the Yawits. Shinnecoocks, a tribe of Long Island, about what is now Southampton. Shoshone, 30,000 in 1820, on Plains End, Missouri, at war with the Blackfeet. Soto, Wapato 460 in 1820, on Columbia River, opposite mouth of Willamette. Sriconters, 1000 in 1820, among the spurs of the Rocky Mountains. W of the Rapids Sioux, discovered by French, 1660, 33,000 in 1820, St. Peter's, Missis, and Misso. And Sissetunaras, upper portions of Red R, of El Winnipeg and St. Peter's, in 1820. Sermaqua. Sisir 1 Rimorca. Bitka, on King George III Islands, on the coast of the Pacific, about lot.
Wait, hold on. I know they didn't just say King George. Did they just say King George? Y'all know they talking about my ancestor. Did they just say King George? Y'all heard that, right? Yeah, I want to make sure we heard that.
Ask Long, Labor.
Oh, it went way back.
Smith wrote, we have reference. It may even be found in some of the best English encyclopedias. Smith 7 does not deal fairly with a passage of Voltaire relating to the people.
Now people send me messages. It done threw the damn thing off. Okay, hold on, guys. Let me get right back to the right passage where we were at. Cause we actually almost done with this, guys, and we will be off to this book. Not to the book. I'm sorry, to this other information. I wanted to go with you guys. Hold on. Where were we? We're here, I believe. Dang, there's a lot of them. Okay, the Sioux, the Six Nations. We read the information on the Six Nations before. You guys remember that, right? I hope y'all remember that. Let me see if I can get it back on the right page. Right spot. Hold on.
Skolagawea, 2 H and C Protra 8, PR Piania Tang, a tribe in side Kalahaj Quapa Quitop Columbia, next end of the Kalat 1 Rex on Missouri are reduced by smallpox. River, Maigons, S of the Iroquois, Rios, Sant, Sauk, savannas, so called from the river, or the river, Shalala, 1218-16, on the Pacific, S.
Okay.
Columbia, or next the Cook-Coo-Sea. Chalatues, on Columbia River, above the Scattles, 118-20.
Y'all heard it.
Van Waponi, 418-20,
Appreciate
on the
you.
heads of
Much
Cataract
love.
and Topshall rivers. Chouain, once over Ohio, 1672, subdued by Iroquois, 1883 near St. Louis in 1820. Chestugal, 918-20, on the Pacific, S. Columbia are, next beyond the Yowaps. Shinnecoocks, a tribe of Long Island, about what is now Southampton. Shoshone, 30,000 in 1820, on Plains End, Missouri, at war with the Blackfeet. Soto, Wapatu, 460 in 1820, on Columbia River, opposite mouth of Willamette. Sriconters, 1000 in 1820, among the spurs of the Rocky Mountains. W of the Rapids Soup, discovered by French,
Listen up. Here it
1660,
comes.
33,000 in 1820, St. Peter's, Missis, and Misso. And Sissetonores, upper portions of Red R, of El Winnipeg and St. Peter's, in 1820. Bitka, on King George III Islands, on the coast of the...
On who islands? Who islands they just said? Tell me y'all heard that. Tell me you guys are like really paying attention. The Sitka on King George III Islands on the coast of the Pacific, about the latitude of 57 degrees north. Right? The Sitka Indian. King George III Islands. Where are these islands at? On the Pacific. Like, come on, guys. This should be so easy for me. Like, I mean, it gets so easy right now where the ancestors just be like, see, okay, you want to verify, here's more confirmation. Who don't see this? Somebody put a 1 in the chat if y'all with me, because I ain't gonna even elaborate much. I just want to know if y'all see that and y'all know what it's referring to and where my head at right now. Put a 1 in the chat. A couple of people, even one person. If one person with me, I'm gonna keep it moving right now. If not, I'm gonna have to explain, because y'all, come on now, somebody stay with me on this shit. I get so tired. I get so tired of repeating stuff. I get so tired of people arguing about, what doesn't make sense when I'm showing you guys the freaking facts. I'm laying it out. I read book after book after book after article after article after article after note after note. Like, I keep doing this. People just keep wanting to suppress what I'm saying so that they can act like I'm wrong and they're right, when we just have to go by the facts so people can know what's going on. It's not about popularity. I mean, I done been on some big channels. I done been on Brother Sanchez's channel many a time. He's got a large following. I could be up there, hey, follow me, go in this chat, follow me, guys, hey, da da da. I don't do that, because you know why? Because you guys are supposed to be here. Everybody that's here listening to me right now, that's on the frequency that I'm on, you guys are here for a reason. So if y'all ain't following me, that's when I got a problem. But see, since y'all on it, shit, we off. You talking about I'm bomb virtually? Y'all bomb. Y'all here with me because y'all right with me. Same frequency, ain't shit off. Just like I like it, just like it's supposed to be. Y'all doing y'all thing. Look at all these ones. Bro said, I heard it. He ain't had to put it on. He was like, I heard it, sis. Yep, I heard it. Heard it. Heard it. With you, sis. With you, sis. I'm with you. Bro said, 1111111. Yes, yes, yes. See, this is what I'm talking about. These my people right here. Y'all the best. Y'all, man, y'all everything. Y'all don't even know. Y'all don't even know. This would make me, like, I ain't gonna lie, I was talking to my girl, like, dang, sis, I be wanting to do these videos. I be, when I don't have the energy or whatever, it kind of throws me off. And, I'm not able to do, give my all in the video. But it's like, I got to force myself sometime to have the energy, because I be wanting to put stuff together. And it seems like when I don't do a live kind of often, like at least every couple of days, some of the stuff I tell you guys seem to be like, it'll go out your head, because you hear other people talking about stuff. Yeah, of England, our England, brother. You know it, our England. It's actually a relative of mine. Even having an ancestor that was born in Virginia. But, I ain't going to get into all that. People just be so, oh, she said. Give them enough. They already get off on just, saying my name, put my name in title, dogging me out, you know, just ridiculous shit. So I don't try to talk too much, but yeah. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Yeah. Y'all on it. I ain't even got to say too much more. Let's keep going.
Ancestry upper portions of Red R of L. Winnipeg and St. Peter's in 1820. Sir Macwa. C. Sir 1 Rimorca. Bitka on King George III Islands on the coast of the Pacific, about lot 57 degrees and 6 Narani, /Roquewa, Mohawk, Seneca, Onondaga, Oneida, Cayuga, Shawayne Scattles on Catsrack River, 25 meters MN of the Big Narrows, 200 and 1800. Skeetsamish 3011 to 1820, on a river of their name flowing into the Lasta, Indian tribes and nations.
Oh,
15
so
SX
sweet.
Deplored on Columbia River, from Sturgeon Island upward, 2,500 in 1820, Scunamoke, or Tuckapis, on Vermilion River, Law, 6 Licos W, of N. Iberia. Smokes Shop, on Columbia R, at the mouth of the Labich, 800 in 1820, in 24 clans. Snake. C. Aliatans or Shoshones. Soxox RS on Saco River, Maine, until 1725, when they withdrew to Canada. Saukhold on the Columbia, above mouth of Lewis's River, 2,400 in 1820. Sauvravers, Micmacs, once so called by the early French. Sauvariets, Ottawas, a band probably mistaken for a tribe by the French. Soyanum, Chapunish on N side E fork of Lewis's River, 400 in 1820. W.R. spoken, on sources Lewis's River, over a large tract of country. W. Rocky M. Squanaroo, on Cataract R, below the Scattles, 120 in 1820. W. Rocky M. Steddens, on Heads Chenor, with the Canadavish, 400 in 1805, resemble Kiawis. Stocksript, New, Mohegans and Iroquois, collected in NY, 1786, 400 in 1820. Shrocksript, Mass, Mohegans, settled there in 1734, went to Oneida in 1786. Senior, Abenakis, about 300 still remain on that river. Susquehannock, on W shore of MD. In 1607, that river perpetuates their name. Sussees, near sources of a branch of the Saskatchewan, W. Rocky Mountains. Cimarrons, a numerous race on the east side of the Isthmus of Darien. Taculas.
You said the Cimarrons were a numerous race. Now we're hearing a lot of these other talking about 2,400, just as in one particular tribe. Now remember, we're going over each tribe. Some of them got like 5,000, 6,000, 8,000. 45,000, a few with the 45,000, 30,000, but they got some big G's around here, right? So yeah.
Rocky Mountains. Cimarrons, a numerous race on the east side of the Isthmus of Darien. Taculas, people who go upon water, on headwaters of Fraser's River, La, Tasagrati, about Detroit in 1723, probably Tsinatuans. Tauacana, on River Brazos, 8 tribes, 180 meters M up, 1,200 in 1820. Talabas, Seminoles 15 in 1820, between Olaclacana and Mikasaki. Talwina, Seminoles 210 in 1820, on east side Flint River, near the Chehaws. Tamaronas, a tribe of the Illinois, perhaps Porias afterwards.
Tamaronas.
Tomatoes, Seminoles 7 meters M.
Peoria.
Above the Acheses, and numbered 220 in 1820. Taradines, E of Pascataqua River, the Nipmucks so called the Abenakis.
Abenakis.
Seminoles
The
130 in 1820, since scattered among other towns. Talkaways, on the sources of Trinity, Brazos, Dios, and Colorado rivers. Tawakano, 3 Canes W side Brazos are 200 meters MW of Nacogdoches, 1,804. Tawas, Hurons, on the Mom in 1780, 18 meters M from Lake Erie. Telmacress, Seminoles, W. Side Chattahoochee, 15 meters M above Fork, 100 in 1820. Tennesaw, once on that river, which flows into Mobile Bay, went to Red R in 1765. Tetons, Sioux Vile miscreants on Misso Street. Peters, Rio Pirates.
Val
miscreants. Or Denondides, a tribe of Hurons, or their general name.
Oh, snap. It said the Tetons, Sioux, vile miscreants on the Mississippi and Missouri. St. Peter's, real pirates. It said in parentheses, they were real pirates.
Peter's real pirates. Shenantides or Denontides, a tribe of Hurons, or their general name. Taquoias, one of the 6 tribes on the Chesapeake in 1607. Tonika's, 20 warriors in 1784, on Mississippi, op. Point Coop, once numerous. Tomcahans, a nation or tribe of Texans, said to be cannibals. Tonkawa, 718-20, erratic, about Bay St. Bernardo. Toreros, on the mountains N. of the Sapones, in N. Carolina, in 1700. Totoskis. See Moritokes. Tuacano, or Toosh, one of 3 tribes on the Brazos. See Tauacana. Sanantuans, Hennepin, so called the Senecas, by Cox, called Sonantovans. Tukabach, on Taupoos River, 30 meters above Fort Alabama, in 1776. Tunica, Mobilian, on Red River, 90 meters above its mouth, but 30 in 1820. Tunxis, Maigons, once in Elcon, monument erected to them, 1840. Tushpahas and Orlashoots, 5,600 in 1820, on Clarks and Missouri rivers. Tuscarora, on Nassau, N. Carolina, till 1712, a few now in Lewiston, Niagara Archipelagos. See Mangokes or Mangogues. Tutsia, on a river W. Rocky Ams, supposed to be a branch of the Columbia. Twice, Miamis, in 1780, on the Great Miami, so called by the Iroquois. Ukners, once on Chattahoochee, are 4 towns, some went to Florida, some west. Uamphalla, Seminoles, 670 in 1820, 12 meters above Fort Gaines, on Chattahoochee are Ugaljokmutsi, a tribe about Prince William Sound, N.W. Coast. Ulcia, on coast of the Pacific, 8s. Columbia, beyond the Niquitus, 150 in 1820 in Alakgo, one of the 3 tribes once composing the Lenni-Lenape. Anamis, the head tribe of Lenni-Lenape.
Came in late, but you heard it.
Unquihicos, a tribe anciently on Long Island, New York. Upsaroxka, Minatari, commonly called Crows. Waxkicum, 30 meters up Columbia River, opposite the Cathlamites, 400 in 1836 Vasinga, Iroquois, between W. Branch of Delaware and Hudson R. Waco, Panis, 800 in 1820, on Brazos River, 24 meters from its mouth. Kiwano RVMS, on N Branch Columbia River, from Lapijar upward, 700 in 1806. Wapatone, Sioux, rove in the country on NW side St. Peters River. Wampakora, Sioux, in the country SW St. Peters in 1805, never stationary. Lamessers, Nipmucks, once on Merrimack River, where Lowell, Mass, now is. Wampanoag, perhaps the 3D nation in importance in NE when settled by the Ang Wappings at and about Esopus in 1758, also across the Hudson to the Mincy. Warren and Congwens, supposed to be the same as the Wappings. Washaws, on Barataria Island in 1680, considerable, 1805, at Bay St. Foch, 5 on.
Okay, I was in the chat and I meant to go stop this. Now listen, the Unamis. It says the head tribe of the Lenni Lenape. You know how they always talk about the Lenni Lenape tribe, right? That was just one of the tribes that was under the Unamis. So the Unamis was actually the head tribe of the Lenni Lenape tribe. You hear people talk about that all the time. Also, the Analachko was one of the 3 tribes once composing the Lenni Lenape. So the Lenni Lenape was composed of 3 tribes. Composing the Lenni Lenape were 3 tribes. It was not just one tribe. So the Analachko were one of the tribes. The Unamis was the head of the Lenape tribe, and I think we went. One was earlier. It may have been with the C or D. I can't remember, but that was one. That was a 3rd tribe because they said it was also part of the Lenape tribe. So those were the 3 tribes that made the nation of the Lenapes. Okay. And then the Anchagogs, a tribe anciently on Long Island, New York. Ancient. It says what? Anciently on Long Island, New York. Right? Okay. Let's go.
Warren and Congwens, supposed to be the same as the Wappings. Washoes on Barataria Island in 1680, considerable, 1805, at Bay St. Foch, 5 only. Watanans or Wees, see Weatanans. Waterees, once on the river of that name in S. Carolina, but long since extinct. Watapanedo, on the Paducah Fork of the Platte, near Rocky Amts, 918-20. Wavenoaks, Abenakis, once from Sagadaha to St. George River in Maine.
Right.
Waxhaw, once in S. Carolina, 45 meters above Camden, name still continues. Wees or was Kickapoos. See Weatanans. Wikisa, Semin 250 in 1820, W side Chattahoochee, 4 meters above the Cheskatilos. Welch, said to be on a southern branch of the Missouri. Westos, in 1670, on Ashley and Edisto rivers, in S. Carolina. Witepahato, with the Kiowas, in 70 lodges in 1805, Paducah Fork of Platte River. Wheelbow, on Clark's River, from the mouth of the Lastock, 2,500 in 1820, W. R. Whirlpools, Chickamaugas, so called from the place of their residence. Luke W. of Mississippi River, mentioned by many travelers. Weeks Comicos, one of the 6 tribes in Virginia in 1607, mentioned by Smith. Willows, Chapunish 500 in 1820, on Willow, which falls into Lewis's Winnebago, on S side Lake Michigan until 1832, Outagamese, and Seawitwer, loops of the French. Several nations had tribes so called. Waxen, 2 leagues from the Tuscaroras in 1701, long since extinct. Woolala, on Columbia R, from above Musleshel Rapids, W. Rocky and Swinepers, Hurons, a great seat at Sandusky in 1780, warlike. W. Vicums, on the Susquehanna in 1648, with some Oneidas, 250. Winneaws, a small tribe in N. Carolina in 1701. Yamaka, at the bluff of their name in 1732, near Savannah, about 140 men. Yamasee, S. border of 8. Carolina, nearly destroyed in 1715 by...
It said the Yamasee, right? Hold on, let me go back. It says the Yamasee. It says on the south border of South Carolina. On the south border of South Carolina, it says nearly destroyed in 1715 by the English. It don't say the New English, it say the English. Why? Now check this out. There was a border on South Carolina. The border. You don't hear them talk about borders, right? There was a border in South Carolina.
Yamasee, S. border of 8. Carolina, the nearly destroyed border in 1715 by English. Yamparak, Comanches 3 tribes about sources Brazos, Del Norte, NC, 1,817, 30,000 Yintons in the plain country, adjacent to 30, side of the Rocky Mountain.
30,000 of the Comanche tribe, 30,000.
Side of the Rocky Mountains. Yardertassi, in Louisiana, 50 meters from Natchitoches, on a creek falling into Red Aryazus, formerly upon the river of their name, extinct in 1770. Yintentany, on banks St. Joseph's R, which flows into El Michigan, in 1760. Yaha, above the rapids of the Columbia in 1820, 2,800, with some others. Yelitpu, Chapunish 250 in 1820, on Winkum R, under SW Mountain. Yovorkon, on the Pacific, next end of the mouth of Columbia River, 700 in 1820, S of North America.
So, I want you guys to hear, let me see, I want to go past book 1. I want you guys to hear this. Yeah, let me go ahead and get...
S of North America equals E5 equals is S equals C, RAR OUZO equals, book 1. Origin, Antiquities, Manners and Customs and C of the American Indians. Oh, could their ancient Incas rise again? How would they take up Israel's
ancient who? The ancient who rise again? The ancient Incas. The ancient Incas rise again. From where? The soil, the dirt. Let's go.
Book 1. Origin, Antiquities, Manners and Customs and C of the American Indians. Oh, could their ancient Incas rise again? How would they...
And just to clarify, of the American Indians, don't get it twisted. The American Indigenes. It's going to go into this. This is why it was important for me to get to this part for you guys to read it. hear this for yourself, right? Because I've talked to you guys plenty of times about being indigenes, the American indigenes, misnomer, misclassified as Indians. We read it. I read it with you guys. The American Antiquarian. We read the Antiquarian and it told you the same exact thing, that we were indigenes. Now check this out. Here's more confirmation.
Book 1. Origin, Antiquities, Manners and Customs and Sea of the American Indians. Oh, could their ancient Incas rise again? How would they take up Israel's taunting strain? Art thou too fallen, Iberia? Do we see the robber and the murderer weak as we? Thou, that hast wasted earth, and dared despise, alike the wrath and mercy of the skies, thy pomp is in the grave, thy glory laid low in the pits thine avarice has made. We come with joy from our eternal rest, to see the oppressor in his turn oppressed. Art thou the God, the thunder of whose hand rolled over all our desolated land, shook principalities and kingdoms down, and made the mountains tremble at his frown? The sword shall light upon thy boasted powers.
May what tremble? May what tremble? The
Art thou
mountain,
the God, the thunder of
not the
whose hand
mountain.
rolled over all our desolated land, shook principalities and kingdoms down, and made the mountains tremble at his frown? The sword shall light upon thy boasted powers, and waste them as they wasted ours. 'Tis thus omnipotence his law fulfils, and vengeance executes what justice wills cowers. Chapter 1. Origin of the name Indian. Why applied to the people found in Amerwa? Ancient authors supposed to have referred to America in their writings. Theopompus, Voyage of Hanno, Diodorus Siculus, Plato, Aristotle, Seneca. To name Indian was erroneously applied to the
Seneca.
original man of America * by its first discoverers. The attempt to arrive at the East Jndies by sailing west caused the discovery of the islands and continent of America. When they were at .first.discoyered, Columbus, and many after him, supposed they had arrived at the eastern shore of the continent of India, and hence the people they found there were called Indians. The error was not discovered until the name had so obtained that it could not well be changed. It is true that it matters but little to us by what name the indigents of a country are known, and especially those of America, in as far as the name
By
is seldom
what
used
name? The
among
who?
us, but in application to the aboriginal American.
Did you guys hear? The name of the who? The indigenes. The indigenes. She's saying indigenes. The indigenes of America. The indigenes of America. Let's go.
Us, but in application to the aboriginal Americans. But with the people of Europe it was not so unimportant. Situated between the two countries, India and America, the same name for the inhabitants of both must, at first, have produced considerable inconvenience, if not confusion, because, in speaking of an Indian, no one would know whether an American or a Zealander was meant, unless by the context of the discourse. Therefore, in a historical point of view, the error is, at least, as much to be deplored as that the name of the continent itself should have been derived from Americus instead of Columbus. So named from Vespucius Americus, a Florentine, who made a discovery of some part of the coast of South America in 1499, 2 years after Cabot had explored the coast of North America, but Americus had the fortune to confer his name upon both. It has been the practice of almost every writer who has written about the primitive inhabitants of a country to give some wild theories of others concerning their origin, and to close the account with his own, which generally has been more visionary, if possible, than those of his predecessors. Long, laborious, and, we may add, useless disquisitions have been daily laid before the world, from the discovery of America by Columbus to the present time, to endeavor to explain by what means the inhabitants got from the old to the new world. To act, therefore, in unison with many of our predecessors, we will begin as far back as they have done, and so shall commence with Theopompus and others, from intimations in whose writings it is alleged the ancients had knowledge of America, and therefore peopled it. Theopompus, a learned orator, who flourished in the time of Alexander the a book entitled Thaumasia, gives a sort of dialogue venal as the Phrygian and St. Linus. The book itself is lost, but Strabo refers to it, and Leonus has given us the substance of the dialogue which follows. After much conversation, Silenus said to Midas that Europe, Asia and Africa were but islands surrounded on all sides by the sea, but that there was a continent situated beyond these, which was of immense dimensions, even without limit.
There was a continent, right? With how many what? It said continents with immense dimensions. But look at this. It says that, I'm going to go back here. After much conversation, Silenus said to Midas that Europe, Asia, and Africa were but islands. You know how they try to show y'all on these fake ass maps I keep telling y'all about? They try to make it seem like, oh, they just as big. Oh, they're so large. They make these fictitious ass pictures. But I done showed y'all the old maps, so y'all done seen the real stuff too. We don't even go into that. I know this has been like last year or sometime. Maybe we'll get back into the maps again. It's been a minute. But check this out. It says that Europe, Asia, and Africa were but islands surrounded on all sides by the sea. Islands. But there was, let me highlight this part for you guys. But there was a continent situated beyond these with which was of great dimensions, even without limits, and that it was so luxuriant as to produce animals of a prodigious magnitude, and men grew to double the size of themselves. Y'all hear this? Make sure y'all paying attention.
Without limits, and that it was so luxuriant as to produce animals of prodigious magnitude, and men grew to double the height of themselves, and that they lived to a far greater age, asterisk, that they had many great cities, and their usages and laws were different from ours, that in one city there was more than 1,000,000 of inhabitants, that gold and silver were there in vast quantities. This is but an abstract from Pound Leonas's extract, but contains all of it that can be said to refer to a country west of Europe and Africa. Leon or Hanus lived about A.D. 200. Hanno flourished when the Carthaginians were in their greatest prosperity, but the exact time is unknown. Some place his times 40, and others 140 years before the founding of Rome, which would be about 800 years before our era. Section. He was an officer of great enterprise, having sailed around NX- explored the coast of Africa, set out from the Pillars of Hercules, now called the Straits of Gibraltar, and sailed westward 30 days. Hence it is inferred by many that he must have visited America or some of its islands. He wrote a book, which he entered
America. He must have visited America or some of its islands, because America has what? So many islands, right? He must have visited it in some of its islands.
He wrote a book, which he entered Theopompus, giving an account of his voyages, which was translated and published 533 in Greek. Many, and not without tolerably good reasons, believe that an island or continent existed in the Atlantic Ocean about this period, but which disappeared under bar afterwards. Asterisk, Buffon and Raynal either had not read this story, or they did not believe it to have been America, for they taught that all animals degenerated here. Many of the first adventurers to the coasts of unknown countries reported them inhabited by giants. Swift wrote Gulliver's Travels to bring such accounts into ridicule. How well he succeeded is evident from a comparison of books of voyages and travels before.
Giants to them, but normal size for us, because what? Everything was in abundance over here, right? Everything was humongous. Y'all seen the trees? They came and just chopped them down. When they came in, they were peeking out through the caves and every damn thing, looking and saying, oh my gosh, who are these massive ass people? They were scared. They told me, oh, they came and they just chopped these people down. Then they came and they slaughtered them and they just made them into extinction and this, and that. You did? Really? Yeah, it was that easy for y'all to do that? Stop playing with us. Come on. You talking about massive men that they said they were massive? They were so huge and abundant, and they try to tell you something different, right? It's a lie. We know it's a lie. It's a lie. 760 plus islands. It's a lie.
How well he succeeded is evident from a comparison of books of voyages and travels before and after his time. Dubartas has this passage: our fearless sailors, in far voas more led by gains hope than their compasses, on th Indian shore have sometime noted some whose bodies covered to broad air's room, and in the South Sea they have also seen some like Esseg and huge treen, and other some, whose monstrous backs did bear two mighty wheels, with whirling spokes that were much like the winged and wide, spreading sails of any windmill tuned with merry U2 Ivine weeks, p. 117, ed. 4 to 1613. /Fleon, very. History. HB. 3. Chap. V8. Since the text was written, there has come into my hands a copy of a translation of Aelian's work in English as well according to the truth of the gist text as of the Latin, by Abraham Fleming. London, 1576, 42. It differs not materially from the above, which is given from a French version of it. Encyclopédie The best account of Hanno and his voyages, with which we are acquainted, is to be Porami, and Hist of Spain, Vol. I-93, 109, 119, 122, 133, and 150, ed. Paris, 11,725, vols. 42. Underbar Diodorus Siculus says that some Phoenicians were cast upon a most fertile island opposite to Africa. Of this, he says, they kept the most studied secrecy, which was doubtless occasioned by their jealousy of the advantage the discovery might be to the neighboring nations, and which they wished to secure, wholly to themselves. Diodorus Siculus lived about 100 years before Christ. Islands lying west of Europe and Africa are certainly mentioned by Homer and Horace. They were called Atlantides, and were supposed to be about 10,000 flones from Africa. Here existed the poet's fabled Elysian fields, but to be more particular with Diodorus, we will let him speak for himself. After having passed the islands which lie beyond the Herculean Strait, we will speak of those which lie much farther into the ocean. Towards Africa, and to the west of it, is an immense island in the broad sea, many days' sail from Libya. Its soil is very fertile, and its surface variegated with mountains and valleys. Its coasts are indented with many navigable rivers, and its fields are well cultivated, delicious gardens, and various kinds of plants and trees. He finally sets it down as the finest country known, where the inhabitants have spacious dwellings, and everything in the greatest plenty. To say the least of this account of Diodorus, it corresponds very well with that given of the Mexicans when first known to the Spaniards, but perhaps it will compare as well with the Canaries. Plato's account has more weight, perhaps, than any of the ancients. He lived about 400 years before the Christian era. A part of this account is as follows: in those first times, time of its being first known, the Atlantic was a most broad island, and there were extant most powerful kings in it, who, with joint forces, appointed to occupy Asia and Europe, and so a most grievous war was carried on, in which the Athenians, with the common consent of the Greeks, opposed themselves, and they became the conquerors. But that Atlantic island, by a flood and earthquake, was indeed suddenly destroyed, and so that warlike people were swallowed up. He adds, in other place, an island in the mouth of the sea, in the passage to those straits, called the Pillars of Hercules, did exist, and that island was greater and larger than Libya and Asia, from which there was an easy passage over to other islands, and from those islands to that continent, which is situated out of that region. Neptune settled in this island, from whose son, alas, its name was derived, and divided it among his 10 sons. To the youngest fell the extremity of the island, called Gadir, which, in the language of the country, signifies fertile or abounding in sheep. The descendants of Neptune reigned here, from father to son, for a great number of generations in the order of primogeniture, during the space of 9,000 years. They also possessed several other islands, and, passing into Europe and Africa, subdued all Libya as far as Egypt, and all Europe to Asia Minor. At length the island sunk under water, and for a long time afterwards the sea thereabouts was full of rocks and shellies. Plus this,
The island sunk under the water. We about to change this subject, y'all, real quick. Let's go.
At length the island sunk under water, and for a long time afterwards the sea thereabouts was full of rocks and shellies. Plus this account, although mixed with fable, cannot, we think, be entirely rejected, and that the ancients had knowledge of countries westward of Europe appears as plain and as well authenticated as any passage of history of that period.
Right. The Grand Orient. I just posted some on TikTok about the Afro-Asians. If you guys get a chance to go over there, check it out. Now, let's get into this document. I asked a sister earlier. I'm like, sis, are you familiar with wait, let me pull this up first. Yeah. The Constitution not really being constitutional, it actually being ruled as unconstitutional. She was like, no, not actually. So let's get into that. I wanna show you guys this, right? Now check this out. I'm not gonna read this whole entire case, but I'm gonna show you some. I'm definitely gonna have to do a part two. Reading that, going into those names, and man, that's been almost 2 hours. I didn't even realize that was going to take so long, or I would have just set that for another time because I really want to get into this document. But I'm definitely going to do this. I may be getting into this tomorrow early, but I'm going to show a bit of it now. I want you guys to understand and see this particular portion. It's the barbarous decision of the United States Supreme Court declaring that what? The Civil Rights Act was unconstitutional and disrobbing the colored race of all civil protection, the most cruel and inhumane verdict against a loyal people in the history of the world, not just America, but of the world. Also, the powerful speeches of Honorable Frederick Douglass and Colonel Robert G. Ingersoll, jurist and famous orator, electronic edition, Turner, Mr. Henry McNeill, 1835 to 1915. Let's get into this real quick. In the United States, source description title page, the barbarous decision of the United States Supreme Court declaring that civil rights are, let me put this in the chat for you guys too, because I'd be liking you guys to be able to take the information, really like check this stuff out, look at it, and see what's going on, all of that stuff. Okay, now check this out. It says the barbarous decision of the United States Supreme Court declaring the Civil Rights Act unconstitutional and disrobbing the colored race of all civil protection, the most cruel and inhumane verdict against a loyal people in the history of the world. Also, the powerful speeches of Honorable Frederick Douglass, so on and so forth. Let's go into this in the compliance, right? Right into it. Now, once again, the barbarous decisions of the United States Supreme Court that declared that Civil Rights Act was unconstitutional and disrobbing of the colored people and its civil protection, the most cruel and the most inhumane verdict against the loyal people of the history of the world. Also, the powerful speeches, so on and so forth. So let's get into them. Just want to read that again. Civil people being under humane conditions. Atlanta, Georgia. This was compiled and published by Bishop H.M. Turner in 1893. Why publish this decision? The reason I have gone to the United States Supreme Court Library of Washington, D.C. and procured a true and correct copy of the revolting decision which declared the Civil Rights Bill unconstitutional and entailed upon the colored people of the United States every species and indignities, I'm going to say indigenes, every species of indignities known to the prescription, persecuted, and even death itself, and will cultivate in their leaving the United States or occupying the status of free slaves until extermination follows, is because the great mass of our people in this country, including black and white, this black shit, black and white, appear to be so profoundly ignorant of the cruel, disgraceful, and inhumane condition of things affecting the colored race. They acting stupid, basically, is what this is saying. This was in the 1800s. And sustaining the brutal laws, which are degrading and goring their very lives out. I have met hundreds of persons who, in their stupid ignorance, have attempted to justify the action of the Supreme Court in fettering the arms of justice and disgracing the nation by transforming it into savage country. The world has never witnessed such barbarous laws entailed upon a free people. The world has never witnessed such barbarous laws entailed upon a free people as have grown out of the decision of the United States Supreme Court, issued on October the 15th of 1883. For that decision alone authorized and now sustains all the unjust discriminations, proscriptions, and robberies perpetrated by public carriers, listen, perpetrated by public carriers upon millions of the nation's most loyal defenders. Its fathers, all the Jim Crow cars into which colored people are huddled and compelled to pay as much as the whites who are given the finest accommodations. It has made the ballot of the black man a parody. A parody. Parody. Yeah, it is a parody. A paradise. That don't sound right. His citizenship, a nullity, and his freedom of burlesque, it has engendered the bitterest feeling between the whites and blacks and resulted in the deaths of thousands who should have been living and enjoying life today. And as long as the accompanying decisions remain the verdict of the nation, it can never be accepted as a civil, much less a Christian country. The colored man or woman, colored. Remember this 1800s. The colored man or woman who can find contentment menaced and shackled by such flagrant and stalking injustice as the Supreme Court has inflicted upon them must be devoid of all manliness and these self-protecting instincts that prompt every animal to fight or run. If the Negro as a race intends to remain in this country and does not combine, organize, and put forth endeavors for a better condition of things here, or leave it and search for a land more congenial, he is evidently of the lowest type of human existence, and slavery would be a more befitting spirit for the exercise of his dwarfed and servile powers than freedom. When colored people were forced into Jim Crow cars and deprived of any rights which the whites enjoyed in the days of slavery, they were charged half fare. Now they have to pay for the first class fare and in thousands of instances are compelled to accept half accommodations, but it is needless to enter into further detail for the same principles or unprincipled runs through the entire series. Therefore, I have compiled and published these documents upon the same for the information of my race everywhere and their friends, that they may see their odious and direful surroundings and ask themselves whether they can submit to them or not. It's kind of deep. Can you submit to it or not? Okay. These are a few cases, civil cases, but I wanted to get to this particular one. Hold on. Let me go down. Maybe I won't read this one. I'm going to go here. Yeah, I'm going to read a little bit up since I have it pulled up. Hold on. But I want you guys to see that they said that it was ruled unconstitutional. It says the 23rd, the 24th. What is this? 10, 13. The 13th Amendment relates to slavery and involuntary servitude, which it abolishes. They say slavery and involuntary servitude, which we know is indentured servants. And although by its reflex action, it establishes universal freedom in the United States, and Congress can probably pass laws directly enforcing its provisions. Yet such legislative power extends only to the subject of slavery and its incidents, and the denial of equal accommodations in inns, public conveyances, and places of public amusement, such as forbidding by the sanctions of the question, imposing no badge of slavery or involuntary servitude upon the party, but at most infringes rights which are protected with state aggression. And the 14th Amendment. Whether the accommodations and privileges sought to be practiced by the first and second sections of the Civil Rights Act are or are not rights constitutional demandable, and if they are, in what form they are to be protected is not now decided, nor it is decided whether the law as it stands is operative to the territories and District of Columbia, and the decision only relating to its validity as applied to the states, nor as a decision whether Congress under the commercial power may or may not pass a law securing to all persons equal accommodations on lines of public conveyance between two or more states. These cases were all founded on the first and second sections of the Acts of the Congress known as the Civil Rights Act passed March 1st of 1875, entitled an act to protect all citizens in their civil and legal rights. So this doesn't really apply to us. Okay, hold on, guys. Let me pull this one up. Right, principle of the peoples. All right, now let's get to, is this the right one? Da-da-da. Okay, here we go. Let me check with the chat real quick. See if anyone's saying anything in regards to that. Okay. Right. People look like peaches or pecans. Right. Creating a narrative with that document, right? With the civil rights. It's kind of like, what are you saying? Like, what's going on? Okay, hold on. I want y'all to see this case though. I think I put the wrong thing. I started reading it first. Hold on a second. All right, let's get to it. Now this is one of the cases. Now, listen to this. The United States appellants versus the heirs of Boulsdare E. Same appellants in the heirs of Power, same appellants in the heirs of Turner. This is the heirs of Turner. Now, this is the United States appellant. The heirs of Borzar E. Same appellants. The heirs of Power, same appellants. The heirs of Turner, January term of 1850. The first two of these cases were appeals from the District Court of Mississippi. One of them, viz., the United States versus the heirs of Boys Dare, was same case in which the motion of dismiss was made at the preceding term and reported in 7 hours 6:58. The third was appealed from the District Court of Louisiana. The motion was now made to dismiss the whole three upon the ground which was common to them all, viz., that the Act of 1844, reviving and reenacting the Act of 1824, continued it in force for the term of 5 years and no longer, and that as the Act was passed on the 17th of June of 1844, it expired upon the 17th of June of 1849, by reason of which expiration it was alleged that this court has no longer any jurisdiction over the case. What case is that? By the Act of June 17th of 1844, the fifth statute at large, 676, entitled "An Act to Provide for the Adjustment of Land Claims within the states of Missouri, Arkansas, and Louisiana, and in those parts of the states of Mississippi and Alabama south of the 31st degree of north latitude." Now, remember, we were reading about all these degrees of latitude. This is important when it comes to what? As I told you guys earlier, the land claims and everything that's going on with the land, claiming the land, having things set for the land, right? And between the Mississippi and Perdido rivers, it is enacted that so much of the expired act of the 26th of May of 1824, entitled "An Act to Enable Claimants to Land Within an Act to Enable Claimants to Land Within the State of Missouri and Territory of Arkansas to institute proceedings to try the validity of their claims as related to the state of Missouri, be and is hereby revived and reenacted and continued in force for the term of 5 years, and no longer the provision of the part of the aforesaid hereby revived and reenacted shall be and hereby are extended to the states of Louisiana, Mississippi, and etc. in the same way and in the same rights, powers, and jurisdictions to every extent that they can be rendered applicable. And if these states have been enumerated in the original act, hereby revived and the enactments expressed applied to them, as the state of Missouri and the district court of the judges thereof in each of these states shall have the exercise in like jurisdiction over the land claims in their respective states and districts, originating with either the Spanish, French, or British authorities, as by said act was given to the court and the judge thereof in the state of Missouri. The act of the 26th of May of 1824 thus revived the reenacted fourth statute at large 52 after describing the classes of cases embraced within its provisions, prescribes that the claimants shall present a petition to the district court setting forth their claims, that proper parties, including the district attorney, and let's see. Hold on, guys. About to lose my page. Hold on 1 second. So basically, let me continue. Somebody come interrupting what I'm trying to do, of course. Let me see. The party in the judgment, I'm going to go down here. And in all cases, the party against whom the judgment or decree of the said district court may be finally given shall be entitled to an appeal within 1 year from the time of its rendition to the Supreme Court in the United States, a decision of which court shall be uh, final and conclusive between the parties, and should no appeal be taken, the judgment or decree of the said district court shall in like manner be final and conclusive. The fifth section, it was enacted that any claim to lands, tenements, or hereditaments within the purview of this act, which shall not be brought to by petition before the said courts within 2 years from the passing of the act, of which after being brought before the said courts shall, on account of the neglect or delay of the claimant, not be prosecuted to a final decision within the 3 years, shall be forever barred, both at law and in equity. And no other action at common law or proceedings in equity shall ever therefore be sustained in any court whatever in retaliation to said claim. In the 3 cases above mentioned, petitions have been filed in the respective courts, and the district court confirmed the claim to the several petitions, and the United States appealed to this court. The motion to dismiss was sustained by Mr. Volney Howard and Mr. Henderson, and opposed by Mr. Gillett and Mr. Johnson, Attorney General. The motion in brief as filed by Mr. Henderson here as follows. The appellees have presented their respective motions to dismiss the cases in the form of the follows. And now of the term of the appellees. Now, hold on. I'm going to get down to who these cases pertaining to. These 5 tribes. These 5 tribes. Oh, I hope I got the right document because I should have been got to it. Hold on. Dang it. I think it's the wrong document, but I'm still going to read this because this is important as well. Okay, I'll do this on the part to the other part. Okay. And so, too, in repealing the bankrupt laws of 1800 and of 1841, in both instances, Congress inserted a savings clause to save jurisdiction in cases pending at the time of the appeal, and within which doubtless those cases would have fallen within the repeal. Mr. Gillis said that it was not his purpose to controvert the correctness of the positions laid down in the cases cited for the motion. If there was no statute enforcing conferring jurisdiction upon the Supreme Court, he should not contend that these appeals could be heard, nor could he insist that the Judiciary Act conferred any such power. It was found in the Act of 1824 and did not exist at all. It had been contended that this act expired 5 years above, so on and so forth. But if you are not in error in the view of the statute, then these appeals have removed the causes from the court below, cannot be sent back to that court if there is no law empowering this court to hear and determine if the court has no power over the law on determining this in these cases when it comes to this land. Then it has no power to act upon them at all, and it can perform no act which will entitle either party to any advantage which they did not possess and could not enforce on the day when the Revival Act of 1844 expired. To dismiss the appeal and thereby furnish evidence that the causes that had not been lawfully. Wait, hold on a second. Hold on a second, guys. All right. So let me see. Okay, so Then is no power to act upon the act. It was something else I did want to read on this document. Hold on. I might have to wait till we do part 2. Let me see. Hold on. Okay. Let me see. I'm sorry, I'm trying to help my daughter with some and this at the same time. Okay. The attorney said if construction gives them the laws upon the other side, it was correct. The result would be that would stand upon the decree below as an address decree. That was about the decree. Dang, I did want to read that, but I don't want to get into all that. Hold on. I'm trying to find the part to acts, extend the act, the same if applicable. Okay, I wanted to read something. Dang. This definitely is not the document I thought I pulled up. I'm sorry, guys. I'm a little off. It is going over the same information, but it's definitely not on point with what I wanted to go over. I hate when I get a little disorganized like that. I do apologize. Um, did I get into? Let me see. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, I didn't pull it up. I thought I had it pulled up. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna read a little bit more of this, and I'm gonna get out of here, guys. I gotta get ready to do something. Okay. Then, if the opposite counsel concedes that I think that the other consequences for which I must follow. What was the character of the Act of 1824? It describes the claims which are to be presented, the notice to be given, the proceedings to be had, the principles by which the decision is to be governed, the states and the reason for granting an appeal to this court. The claimant had a year to decide whether he would appeal or not. The district attorney was directed to consult with the attorney general whether or not the appeal would be taken into the cases. This is a bunch of cases, guys, going over, yeah, going over the land that these people had, these Moors, Indians, 5 tribes, the ones we always talk about, they were the same thing, they, even though they try to say it was something different, the 5 tribes were the Moors, and they were Moors that were ceded land, and that's the paper I didn't have pulled up. I'm sorry, guys. I'm definitely going to have for part 2. But they were ceded this land under the 5 tribes, and it noted that they are Moors. And this is how they came in to have jurisdiction in the court, so on and so forth. So I am actually, let's see, it's been all right. Okay, yeah, we're gonna come back with part 2. Yeah, I get look, I'm just all over it. So much stuff going on right now. Like I'm like, oh my gosh. But yeah, we're definitely gonna get back into this, guys. And yeah, I appreciate you guys so much. Thanks so much for coming through. You guys sharing your evening with me. Hope you guys have a great. Yeah, please tap that like button on your way in, out, and get the video flowing so people can get this information, especially on our tribes, y'all. We want these people to know we stand strong with all our tribes, all our nations. Like for real, for real. Like we were strong. We still are. May not be as many, but like we definitely still in there. Like for real, for real. So just want to say that peace, love, and bliss. I am out, guys. I'll play a song out of here for us, and we'll go from there. I'm gonna read some more of the book as well. It has so much information in it. It's crazy, guys. Y'all wouldn't believe it, but I'm gonna play a little something. Do I want to play a song or a video? I think I'm gonna play a video on the way out. video.
The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, let me do this one. All right, guys. Peace, love, and bliss. We're going to be out after this. Very interesting video. I think I played this for you guys before, but I'm definitely going to play it.
What it really means. This appears to be a message to expose the banking cartel in America, and to let the people know that they have the power to liquidate them, and get back to Kansas, the real land and republic. The Wizard of Oz, written by L. Frank Baum, is not just a mere story. What is Oz a symbol for? Ounces. What is measured in ounces? Gold. What is the yellow brick road? Bricks or ingot bars of gold. The character known as the straw man represents that fictitious, all caps, legal fiction, a person the federal US government created with the same spelling as your birth name. Remember what the straw man wanted from the Wizard of Oz? A brain? No juristic person, legal fiction, paper corporation has a brain because he or she has no breath of life. What did the straw man get in place of a brain? A certificate, a birth certificate for a new legal creation. He was proud of his new legal status, and all the other legalisms he was granted. Now he becomes the epitome of the brainless sack of straw who was given a certificate in place of a grain of common sense. Now, what about the Tin Man? Does taxpayer identification number, TIN, bring anything to mind? The poor Tin Man just stood there, mindlessly doing his work until his body literally seized up and stopped functioning. He worked himself to death because he had no heart or soul. He's the heartless and emotionless creature, robotically carrying out his daily task as though he were already dead. He's the ox pulling the plow and the mule toiling under the yoke. These days, his taskmasters just oil him nightly with beer, and place him in front of a hypnotic television, until his very existence no longer has any meaning or value. His masters keep him cold on the outside, and heartless on the inside, in order to control any emotion or feeling that might arise. The cowardly lion was always too frightened to stand up for himself. Of course, he was a bully and a big mouth when it came to picking on those smaller than him. Have you ever noticed how bullies are really the biggest cowards? They act as though they have great courage, but, in reality, have none at all. They roar, but with no teeth of authority to back them up. When push came to shove, the cowardly lion always buckled, and whimpered when anyone of any size or stature challenged him. He wanted courage from the Grand Wizard, so he was awarded a medal of official recognition. Now, although remaining a coward, his official status allowed him to be a bully, but with officially recognized authority, and not at all unlike the attorneys, who hide behind the courts. What about the trip through the field of poppies? Did you notice how this had no narcotic effect on the straw man who had no brain, or the tin man with no heart or soul? They weren't real people, so drugs could not influence them. The Wizard of Oz was written at the turn of the century, so how could the author have known America was going to be drugged? The Crown has been playing the drug cartel game for centuries. Just look up the history of Hong Kong and the Opium Wars. The Crown already had valuable experience conquering all of China with drugs, so why not the rest of the world? What was the Emerald City? The Federal Reserve System. Who finally exposed Wizard for what he really was. Toto, the cute and somewhat annoying little dog. Toto means in total, or all together in Latin. What was it that the witch wanted after she alleged that the little dog had bitten her? Toto, or everything. Notice how Toto was not scared of the great wizard's theatrics, yet he was so small in size, compared to the wizard, that no one seemed to notice him. The smoke Flames and holographic images of Oz were designed to frighten people into doing as the great wizard commanded. But Toto simply padded over, started barking until others paid attention to him and came to see what the barking was about. Who was behind the curtain? Just an ordinary person controlling the levers that created the illusion of the great wizard's power and authority. When Toto pulled back the curtain and completely exposed him, the charade was at an end. The veil hiding the corporate legal fiction and its false courts was removed. The wizard's game was up, and what was he after all? A conman, a fraud. We can see, in this tale, just how loud the bark from a little dog can be. Most of us remain silent and wait to be given whatever food and recognition, if any, by our legal masters. Let us not forget those flying monkeys. What perfect mythical creatures to represent the Bar Association attorneys, who attack and control the little people for the great crown wizard, the powerful and grand bankers of Oz. How, finally, was the evil witch destroyed? Pure, clean water? Liquidation. How did Dorothy finally get home? She simply clicked her heels. She always had the power, and so do we. What would it take to expose the wizard for what he is? We each need only a brain, a heart and soul, and courage. Then, and perhaps of the greatest importance, we need to learn how to work together. Only by working together can we have the freedom that was given to us all under the law of God.